Kenneth Owera is a portfolio manager with the National Social Security Fund in Uganda. I oversee the equities portfolio that covers the East African region. And I've been in the position for the past 5 years. It was about 10 years ago, and I'd spent 12 months in commercial banking, whereupon I realized that it wasn't really what I wanted to do. And I had a couple of friends from the university with whom we had started an investment club during our time on campus. And the club was running, it was running well. We had encouraged a number of our colleagues and friends to join in, and we were making investments across the East African region as well, mostly on the equities market. So during that time, one of us enrolled for the CFA program, and most of my friends were joining in. So for me, it was a case of a bandwagon effect. I liked finance, I had a passion for it, but regarding the CFA program, I had no idea about it. So that is when my journey started in earnest along this career path. For starters, in order for me to join the investment industry, I had already enrolled for the CFA program. And so an opportunity came up with a fund management firm in Uganda. I interviewed for the position and I got employed as an analyst with one of the fund management firms at the time. This was about 2011. So the CFA program gave me a foot in the door. Now, when I look back at my work back then, what I would do on a daily basis, the CFA program helped a lot because, it gave me the knowledge of the different asset classes, which at the time, in the company I was in, we were investing in about 2 or 3 of those asset classes. So effectively, a lot of the knowledge I picked out was from out of the CFA program, out of the books I was reading, and I would apply that in my day-to-day role. So the CFA program helped in that regard. Over time, basically, my understanding of the various investment opportunities has been deepened. Of course, through experience, different learnings here and there, making mistakes here and there, but also doing a couple of things right. So over time, my knowledge has been significantly deepened, but also just keeping abreast with the different changes in the financial world, which the CFA program allows one to have that opportunity, given that they always incorporate whatever is new into the CFA programs. So that has enabled me to keep up to date with whatever is happening in the world of finance. Now, speaking specifically about the CFA program, I think they do a very good job in preparing, candidates and members, for the challenges that are prevailing at the moment. Because whatever is happening in the world, in the area of finance or the area of investment, whatever is topical, whatever is happening, normally tends to be incorporated into the CFA programs. I will give an example. You have heard of blockchain technology. That is one of the recent trends. We have seen that being incorporated into the CFA program already. And many other things. You talk of environmental, social, and governance challenges, be it the COVID-19 virus, be it global warming, and so on and so forth. We have seen that the program does a very good job in incorporating a lot of whatever is topical in the world into the programs. So you find that lately we have seen, the green investments taking, preeminence in terms of, the opportunities that are being considered by the various players. So effectively, be it companies, be it projects, one of the key areas that are considered are, the environmental issues. Are these opportunities actually not posing a challenge to the environment? And in effect, there is a framework which allows members or candidates to understand how to evaluate such opportunities. In order for one to begin the journey as a CFA candidate, one needs to be in their final year of university and you don't need to be pursuing any particular discipline. So you could be doing anything, be it arts, be it education, be it sciences, any program. For as long as you're in your final year at the university, then you're able to enroll for the CFA program. And the process of enrolling simply requires you to register online through the CFA Institute website and paying a fee, which is an exam fee, a registration fee basically, as a member of the institute, and also an exam fee. That then gives you access to material which helps you in the preparation for the exam. In addition to that, you need a financial calculator, particularly a BA2 Plus or Plus Professional calculator that you basically get to use in the exam. Without that calculator, you cannot have access to the exam center. So in the past, the exam used to be administered in paper form. However, with the advent of COVID, that posed a couple of challenges. And like many organizations globally, the CFA Institute has also jumped onto, the digital drive. And currently, the exam is being administered electronically. At the moment, the centers are still out of Uganda, so Uganda doesn't have a sitting center. But the process of getting a center in Uganda is a work in progress, and I expect that over the next 5 years, Uganda should be having a center where candidates can be able to sit their exams. So completion of the CFA program, in terms of knowledge, places you at a very unique, places you in a very unique place, because the material that you get to go through over, the years that you're pursuing the program, is very deep, detailed, and very good information for basically anyone, who's interested in knowledge. So from a knowledge perspective, it puts you in a very, very good place. In terms of the opportunities, over time we have seen that the market and the demand for charter holders has increased in the market. We do have a number of private equity firms that are coming into the East African region, and all these basically need people with the right skill sets, for evaluating various opportunities and the like, be it corporate finance, be it private equity, be it public equities. The market is increasing. And what that means is that, people who have the CFA charter then get to be very marketable in that regard. So the opportunities are indeed many. The financial services sector in the region is growing. It has grown over time. You look at the banking sector, you look at the growth in the sector has been tremendous. You look at the pensions industry in Uganda, the growth has been tremendous. You look at the East African region, in the private equity space, we have seen a number of firms, being set up in the region and basically looking for opportunities across the board, from the startup firms to the small and medium enterprises to the well-established and mature firms. All these basically require people who can be able to evaluate these various opportunities. So from a skill perspective or from an opportunities perspective, I must say the opportunities are tremendous. However, like in every field, you need to take the initiative, you need to take the risk if you're to be able to get some of the opportunities that are available. Uganda is a growing country. Uganda is a country where there are very many opportunities for investment. Uganda is a country that really is at a point where the human capital development is relatively low, but that is growing, that is changing, and I believe that there is a need for people with the skills that CFA offers in the market, in the planning and the like. Currently speaking, Uganda has a couple, maybe less than 50 or thereabout in terms of the charter holders. However, there are a lot more individuals that are pursuing the program, candidates and so on and so forth. And what that means is that these people are spread across the different areas. You have the NSSF, where there are a couple of charter holders and those pursuing the program. You have some in the Ministry of Finance who are in the process of pursuing the program. You have a couple in the URA. You do have many in the private sector who have completed and are pursuing the program. I believe that is a good thing. Even in the central bank, you do have quite a number as well who are pursuing the program. So given where the country is, and the evolution of the program, I think Uganda is doing quite well in terms of, the growth of members and the positioning of these members in the different organizations. I believe, as more and more come through, we should be able to see more of these CFA members influence the development program, the planning program of Uganda, and in effect we should be able to see some of the skill sets, reflecting in the planning of the country. So indeed, I believe, in as much as we are not where we want to be, we are moving in the right direction, and I believe over time, the next 5 to 10 years, we should be able to see more members influencing the development agenda of the country. In terms of whether it is important, I believe it is very, very important, because as a country, we have limited resources, and yet we have a lot to do. Now, what that means basically is that with the few resources that we have, we need to make sure that these are deployed to the areas that can yield the highest returns. And effectively, the CFA program offers the relevant skills in evaluating the various opportunities and determining which areas can deliver the highest returns given the limited resources. When you think about the coming year, you're thinking about, one, particularly the budget. Secondly, what has been happening locally and globally. I think currently we have seen that the coronavirus has caused a lot of havoc, both locally and in the global economy. Supply chains have been affected. What that means is that, trade as we knew it to be has been significantly impacted. But also from a resource mobilization perspective, we have seen that the ability of URA to mobilize resources has been impacted because many businesses have either closed or have not performed as they were able to perform when times were good. So in light of that, basically, then we are thinking, how will the government be able to plug the shortfall if activity does not pick up as expected? So effectively, that means that, you're thinking, how will the government be able to finance the different projects they have, if at all they want to accomplish most of what they want to do in the next financial year. But also, I think something we have to look at in light of the environment is the fiscal consolidation. Possibly government will have to consider the most important projects they have to do and maybe push the others down the road rather than trying to achieve everything at a time when there are significant challenges. But also on top of that, you would be looking at things like, leakages or wastage in, just the expenditures and all. One way to also kind of solve the problem is to try and fill the gaps where there are some leakages, where there are some shortfalls, just to ensure that even as we are not able to collect enough, what is collected is well appropriated and it is well spent. The message to CFA members and candidates, it is more of a challenge to us. As a country, your skill sets are needed, the knowledge you have is needed. I encourage all members, all candidates to step up in whichever area, in whichever field you are in, and just offer the skill sets that you have to help the country get better, to help in the development of the country, because whatever knowledge we have attained is not relevant or is useless if we do not apply it to the betterment of the communities that we